Yo, what's cracking, folks? Welcome to episode number 37 of The Painter and the Pixie, the final episode.
The final episode of The Painter and the Pixie. It's not as sad as you think, guys. Keep listening.
Yeah.
Don't just shut it off right now.
Yeah, we are your hosts, Jeremy Vassar and Serina Vassar. And so in this episode of the podcast, Serina and I are going to recap our vacation down to Hilton Head Island, South Carolina, and our experience with Hurricane Florence.
A little bit of that, yep.
A little bit of that. And then mainly we're talking about why this episode is going to be our final episode, what we are moving towards and working on, and
some things to look forward to.
Yeah, and also... Well, I guess I'll throw this out there right now so no one's like too upset right in the beginning, is that Serena and I are both working on other production things.
Other big projects coming down here.
Serena's going to have her own podcast. I'm doing another podcast with my brother. They'll be launching this month. And so there's plenty of opportunities to hear us. And we're also working on more production projects together. So I know it might be shocking for you guys. It seems very abrupt, but keep listening. Enjoy the show. Check it out. Comment if you need to, if you'd like to reach us at the end. But I think you'll really, really like this last episode here, this final finale episode of The Painter and the Pixie. Yep. And I will be giving some shout outs to very specific individuals that have been loyal listeners and in the outro. Yeah. I think we'll
do that
there. So. All right, guys. Well, without further ado, please enjoy the final episode of The Painter and the Pixie.
This is only the beginning.
All right. Ready?
Ready?
What you're going to hear about today is nothing short of a miracle.
Well, I don't believe it.
Let's find out. Ready, set, go.
Yo, what's up, girl?
Hi, good morning, Jeremy.
How you doing?
Good, I'm doing well. It's been a little bit since we have been here recording an episode for you guys.
Yeah, dude, it's been a hot minute.
Yeah.
So we recorded 2 before we left for vacation, and
then we went on vacation.
Which we pulled off pretty successfully, I would say.
Yeah, it was a great vacation.
And we talked about doing vacationing intentionally, I think, on the last episode.
Oh, yeah, I think we did.
And we were actually down in South Carolina when Hurricane Florence came through. Mm-hmm. Some of our family members were concerned
and if anybody is wondering, why we didn't have an episode last week, we were just kind of...
Yeah, well, that's why I was going to explain the chronology of why.
Go for it.
Because Hurricane Florence came in, the governor issued an evacuation of South Carolina that was mandatory on Tuesday, which included Hilton Head Island, which is on the southern tip of South Carolina. We stayed, and then they lifted the mandatory evacuation the following day, which was Wednesday. But because of that mandatory evacuation, the island almost completely emptied out.
Almost completely empty. It was amazing. It was like we had the whole place to ourselves.
It was great. And
the only downfall was that a lot of restaurants were closed, so we couldn't go out and eat really good food. And we still ate really good food, but we couldn't go out.
Yeah, we had I would say our options for dining were somewhat limited towards the end of the week.
Yeah, it's all right. We still had a great time.
But it was very relaxing. If you have an opportunity to have a private island, definitely enjoy that experience. It was pretty sweet. And man, we just had a lot of fun, and it was super chill. And then what happened was, because of Hurricane Florence hitting, we actually stayed an extra day and let it kind of spin itself out. And then we ended up driving through
the remainder of it.
Pretty much the remainder. I think we probably would have been fine to leave on Saturday, actually. I think we would have been ahead of it. But we had to avoid 95 because a lot of
closed.
95 was shut down in 17-mile stretches and stuff because of the flooding. But it was sunny and 85.
It was beautiful.
The whole week. I think we had 15 minutes of rain.
Less than that. It was just a tiny little blip of rain. The entire week, it was gorgeous. Yeah. The only problem was we got stuck on the island. We could not leave. We could have left. We could have found a way. But.
Yeah. No, it was fine. Particularly the way that we went, because we avoided 95. But it was pretty sweet.
It was really nice. Very rejuvenating. I got a lot of work done on that vacation, actually.
Yeah, we've thought through kind of a lot of the next steps that we're going to be talking about here in a second. So people will know, and I'm sure I will have softened the blow in the intro,
I know.
That this will be the final episode of the Painter and the Pixie, and we're going to kind of explain why now. First off, we're doing great. Our marriage is fantastic.
We're doing totally fine.
Nothing
we're doing
to do.
Very well.
Yeah, we're very happy with each other, and satisfied with our relationship, and all of it. It's all growing and moving in a good direction. Yeah. So the reason we are bringing this chapter of our production efforts to a close is we have a lot of stuff. We
have a couple of reasons.
We have a lot of. It's a combination of things, as is most things in life. So I guess we'll start with the things you were working on vacation.
Sure. Yeah. So during vacation, do you want to?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
So during vacation, I was actually really nice, and I've mentioned this to a couple of people. I'm sure I've told you already, Jeremy, that I have never done a working vacation before, but literally almost every single day, maybe not one of the days, but almost every day we were there, I worked until 3 p.m. business planning and projecting and coming up with new ideas and new things for my company for Wise Bear Functional Nutrition, which will be transitioning to Serina Vassar Nutrition, make it a little bit easier for people to find me online and stuff. So working through all those details takes a lot of time, and it was so nice to be able to get away in a beautiful place, beautiful weather, sit out in my tank top and shorts, drinking coffee on the back deck every morning and gather my thoughts and put things in order. And I'm actually surprised if this is news for anybody. There should have been an announcement by the time you guys get this, get to access this podcast. I am moving to a new office space. So it is much larger, much nicer place for me. And
it's your own jam. It's only you in the office.
It's just me there and you. You'll have your little recording studio available.
Yeah, for a little bit, we'll see.
Yeah. So a lot of big changes coming here for Wise Bear Functional Nutrition / Serina Vassar Nutrition world. A lot of really, really good things. And it just takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of time. People don't realize, I think, if they've not done something like this, how much work. It's not like you go work a 9 to 5 and you work, I work 40 hours a week. It would be nice to say that in theory, but it's not. It's like you work and you see people in person, clients for 40 hours a week, and then you've got 40 hours of paperwork on top of that.
Right.
So it's like a lot of effort, and I love the Painter and the Pixie, and I look forward to our podcasts each week, and our series that we've done has been wonderful.
Yeah.
I think really impactful, very positive for a lot of people. For me, it's been a great experience, but I just feel that my efforts, my time would better serve me moving in this other little sideways direction over here, moving in a different direction than we have been with focusing on our show each week.
Right. Well, I've quite a bit to say about all of that as well. So this is my second podcast that I've done, and oddly enough, the Jeremy Unsolicited ended, I think, at 36 episodes. So this will be 37. Made it one more. So with a podcast, what some people might not realize too is how much effort I put in.
It's a lot of time
after the production, after we record is done. So we have, set up, and then there's any kind of preliminary research that we both do to make sure we have a good show. But then I'm doing all the production work after the fact, which is editing the show.
Editing the video, which my cousin Drew has been awesome, has edited these for us, but I still have to upload it. I've got to mix down the audio. I've got to get that to him. And then we also do usually a photo shoot in the studio. I edit that picture. I do the thumbnails for Instagram and YouTube. So it's like several hours per episode. Yeah, I mean, maybe 8 hours per episode. It's a lot of time.
It just, when we did the mini series, it was even more.
Because you have to coordinate schedules.
Yeah, we went on location. We were doing two at a so it's worth it. I think we put out some really good resources, particularly the When Shit Hits the Fan series.
It's a great series.
Also, we pay for hosting fees and a few other services that kind of promulgate the podcast out to its various platforms, website, so on and so forth.
And it's totally worth it. Yeah. But we've got some other big projects here Jeremy's about to tell y'all about here that we're just going to shift our focus slightly.
Yeah. So, and I will say too that I used to pride myself on the level of productivity that I would put out in a week. So how many things am I doing in a week, and being like, look how impressive this is that I'm able to train this much and record this much and do this much. And, what I'm arriving at in my little journey here is that I want to edit things down and really be able to focus and get really awesome at just a few things.
Mm-hmm.
So we have as you mentioned, we're recording this September 30th right now.
Mm-hmm.
You're moving into your new office October 15th.
October 15th. I got clients coming in.
And on my end of things, I've got some, like, I'm doing some work there, painting and getting things squared up so that when you move in, it's very nice. We got to coordinate with the
you're good at that
general contractor, and like we've already done some stuff there. So it is some effort on my end. We also have to repair your old office and spackle. And
there's a lot of work during the turnover process.
When I say it's mainly me for the painting, obviously.
Yeah. And then the manual labor and the lifting.
And then you're also, it's not just that you're moving into a new office. You're also you're adding your restart classes, and
I should talk about that.
So and you're it's not that you're taking your company in a new direction, but you're adding some things.
I'm adding a lot of new layers,
and that takes a tremendous amount of effort. Particularly, you're increasing your overhead. And I have done a lot of entrepreneurial things. I own and operate my own business, so I know how it goes. It's not what we were talking about before the podcast. Is you take on more responsibility to gain more opportunities. So. And the responsibility, it is what it is. That's your overhead that you have to cover. It's a lot of stuff. So, but also during that time, I'm launching a new business with my brother called The Clever Contractor, which will be coming out in October. It's going to be an online resource for contractors to help with, building and growing the businesses that they want, and really showing guys, that it's a really good option. You don't need to necessarily go to college. You can go to trade school. You can learn on the job. You can apprentice. You can get certifications, and you can develop a really, really great contracting business that you can own and operate yourself, create the kind of lifestyle that you want, and build it into something you would actually enjoy doing. And I don't think that gets talked about enough. And there's not really a lot of resources for contractors, particularly by contractors.
Right. From people who have experience and know what they're doing and can say, hey, this worked, this didn't work.
Right. So for people that are interested, which I don't know how many people listening to this podcast would be, because we have an odd mix of an audience as far as like, the painter and the pixie. But it's called The Clever Contractor. I'm doing it with my brother. We already filmed 40 videos.
Yeah, you did a ton of work already.
A Contracting 101 series that we actually decided that we're going to put out that entire series for free on YouTube. So that'll be releasing in October. We also have recorded half of the first season of the podcast.
Very cool.
And we're going to do 12 episodes a season, and we have 3 seasons planned right now. So if you want to hear more of me talking with my brother, I'll have that podcast up probably mid-October as well. Everything's going to launch all at once. Right.
So that's where we've got a lot of things going on.
And then also my brother's been writing blog posts. So we're going to have a very comprehensive website that is going to be like an online resource for contractors. And we're going to continue to put out more and more things that'll be helpful for contractors coming at it from an entrepreneurial space or just want to be more professional. Again, we're not teaching the trade of it. We're teaching the back end,
business side,
the business side. So accounting, insurance, client etiquette, client interaction, and we really
invoicing,
and we really want to help guys, eliminate the uncertainty of some things that guys get hung up on that would prevent them from going out on their own or building a business that they would enjoy more. So, and keeping it in the context of even having you on the show and being like, how,
how stable blood sugar and good nutrition is like key, vital for you to be able to focus and have good work during your day.
Like how to have good nutrition for contracting and put it in the context of that. And it's something that I legitimately am qualified to talk about.
Yeah.
So, and if anyone has done anything like what I just listed, it takes a tremendous amount of effort and time, a lot of production time. And, so that is where my focus, it just was like, okay, we both kind of hashed it out on vacation where, it's kind of run its course in the Painter and the Pixie, and
like we could definitely keep going, but I feel personally, and we've talked about this a lot, but for our audience sake, that finishing our year just for the sake of finishing the year is an unneeded stress based upon all the other things that we've got going and all the other projects that we've got laid out in front of us. When we originally developed the idea of the Painter and the Pixie and said we're going to do this for a whole year, we didn't really know the magnitude of some of these projects that we were dipping our toes into. We kind of had an idea, and we knew you would be launching the Clever Contractor and dealing with all those variables. But we just coming to this point now, I think that our effort and our time would be better served for like meal prepping together and making sure that we've got the next probably 5 weekends are going to be chaos moving into the new space and getting all of my classes and my workshops up and running, and you getting the Clever Contractor up and running and doing that with your brother. And then we're right at the holidays. So it's just a matter of where do we weigh our time? And for those who are listening to, I know some people I've mentioned this like whispers that we'd be closing down the show here. Jeremy and I are still having great conversations. Yeah. We're still having, I know one of our goals starting the Clever Contractor was to, the Painter and the Pixie was to continue to develop our relationship on a personal and marriage level, having great conversations, almost like not forcing, but having scheduled time each week to have wonderful, interesting, detailed conversations, sitting down with no distractions, no dogs, no phone, no people, you know what I mean? Right. And we're still doing that. It's just not going to be on mic. And that's okay. As
evidenced by right before this podcast, I think we talked for about 3 hours.
We did. It was wonderful.
About all the stuff we're working on. And, we have some pretty intense goals that we're actually going to accomplish. Yeah. And, and as far as the Clever or the Painter and the Pixie, sorry.
Sorry, I started that.
How dare you? But yeah, it hasn't been a negative impact on our relationship at all, but also looking at the success of a podcast and understanding more and more of like, at some point it's gotta hit a tipping point where enough energy is coming back into the show that it's,
almost worth our time to do it.
Right,
not to sound like it's not worth our time right now.
Right.
But we're at the point here and the phase of our show here, if I can kind of totally interrupt you, where we would have liked to see a little bit more return for all of our effort and output.
Yeah. Well, and it's not even, so for me, this is an example that I've thrown out to you before. Any entrepreneurial effort, once you start getting into it a little bit, you can get a good feel for like, okay, what would I have to do to make this successful? Mm-hmm. And part of it is having, you got to look at it and see, is the effort to make this successful worth the payoff?
Right. For
the amount of, work and concentration and effort and sacrifice I'm going to have to put into this to make it work. Mm-hmm. So like Josh and I did Vassar Brothers Vending. Yeah. We could have made that business work. We really could have, but
would that have been worth it?
It would have been awful.
Probably not.
Awful. Not something I was interested in doing. Mm-hmm. So we wrapped that up. And so the things that I'm really happy about with this show, I think what has hopefully come across to the listeners, and we super appreciate all you guys. I don't want to. Yeah. It's not like.
We have an awesome, super loyal listener base. Yeah. It's just not like large enough yet. And we don't necessarily want to put in the time to grow the listener base the way that we would need to.
Well, the issue is we need for a show like this to work, which is not. The Painter and the Pixie, when you
kind of a hodgepodge.
When you explain it to someone, it's not a focused show. Mm-hmm. So
it's not like, how do you get better at contracting? Let's talk about nutrition.
Correct. So we kind of like have to come up with topics, and it's hard to come up with things when we're doing all this other stuff.
And we don't have a very specific focus.
Correct.
That's why I loved our miniseries.
So our vibe is good.
Yeah.
Like we're really good on mic together, and hopefully it comes across that we actually like each other and love each other and all of that. But also, I did Jeremy Unsolicited, which is basically an unfocused show as well, where I just talked to people that I found interesting. I enjoyed that as well. It was good reps. I got a tremendous amount of reps doing this show with the all of the thumbnails, and I upped my photo game quite a bit.
Did.
And the Instagram, but also we did not have a robust marketing arm.
No, we didn't do anything
to support it.
We just said, "Hey friends, listen, it's cool. We love it."
Which is fine, and they can grow like that, but
and my clients.
But also a lot of people that are coming, and this is the the thing that I wanted to mention to orient this show towards hope.
Yeah.
Is that, you go to NTA. I know there's a lot of, or a few people from NTA in your teaching sphere, your students and your clients and stuff that listen to this show.
Yeah.
And I think if I was talking to you and you said, "Oh, I've got a podcast," I would expect it to be almost exclusively about nutrition or counseling.
Or lifestyle or counseling or like helping people.
And then if you come to the show and it's not that, it's you and me talking about challenges or whatever it is that we're doing, it might not be the expectation, meeting the expectation. So brings us to our next point. In 2019, probably Q1, I will be helping Serina. I will be producing.
My star producer.
Yeah, and I'm very happy to be in the background on that. I'm going to.
And you'll have guest appearances.
Not only that I will do the Clever Contractor podcast with my brother, and we're going to have guests and things going on, but I'll also be producing your show.
Yep, I'm going to launch my own podcast.
So Serina will have her own podcast in 2019, and it will be nutrition and...
Yeah, so let me talk about that.
Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. So with my new show, the working name, this is not a good name. This is not going to stick. But the working name that I have to have something to refer to it as in my head is Stories with Serina. And what I hope to do with my show is have clients on and kind of interview them and give them a platform to share their story. A lot of people, I've worked with so many people who have incredible stories. And I'm not trying to take like credit for where they are right now, but I have been honored to play a role in them achieving their goals or helping them through some really serious issues in life and their struggles, their symptoms. And I want to give them a platform to be able to share those experiences. And because sometimes you're listening to shows, you're alone, you feel really alone, and you don't know that there's anyone else who's been experiencing anything that you have. So I want to have part sharing that with people, having clients on and other health practitioners and other people who can speak into the world of nutrition and counseling and lifestyle development. Like, how do you get from point A to point B, and how do you develop those healthy relationships? So focusing on those types of dynamics. So there will be some interviews with clients. There's going to be some interviews with health professionals and some episodes where I'm just talking and sharing experiences and sharing about how digestion works and how blood sugar regulation happens and some ways you can optimize those things without having to spend tons of money or even to have a private consultation with me or do any group classes. I just want to offer resources to people to offer hope, show that they're not alone, and give some practical steps to help people move in the right direction. So that's kind of the theme of the show is growth, vitality, nutrition, health, wellness, expertise coming out and giving people, like I said, a platform to show that they where they've come from, where they've gone, show that I'm still on a journey myself. I'm not perfect. I'm not 100% like better from all of my negative symptoms that I had in my whole life, but moving in the right direction, showing forward momentum and giving people hope. That's really kind of the goal of that show.
Yeah.
I will also be operating as per, not that necessarily you suggested this, but I liked your idea and in seasons. So, and there will be details. You guys can find me and you'll be able to see the details. But very excited about the show. I'm sure I'll have you on for guest appearances.
Always happy to be.
Yes, because I'll have a recording studio in my new office, dedicated for my YouTube channel and podcasting. I think that it's going to be so much fun, and I cannot wait to launch this and let people kind of enjoy the product, the fruit of my labor.
Yeah. One, and the podcast is going to be oriented towards, serving and
health and wellness lifestyle,
and really helping your clients and other people that kind of come into the Serina Vassar ecosystem, where it's, I think you'll make it flexible enough that you have enough different ways to record and, either having guests on or doing it solo. So it'll be, and as with all things, you do it and then kind of figure it out. And then, I'll definitely be producing it and helping you with that and all that stuff. So it'll be, that's kind of what I wanted to point out too, is that, anyone that's sad that this is not going to continue, you still will have plenty of opportunities to hear Serina and I on our own podcast, but also we'll be cross-pollinating between the two as well. And, who knows, maybe down the line when we're super well established, we'll revamp or even do like a YouTube series or something like that. I could see that happening. So, but
it's going to be pretty cool. I want to show people with the new version of the show with me, like, it doesn't have to be scary. A lot of people are really nervous when they're starting down a new path for nutrition or lifestyle adjustments, like going from eating a standard American diet to like eating real food. That's a huge leap. And a lot of people, it's really nerve-wracking. Like, do I have to change everything? I mean, I've had several clients who have heard about my way of doing nutrition through our podcast here, The Painter and the Pixie, and they've come to see me and worked with me and had great success, but they're still not eating a perfect diet because they were encouraged to see that I'm not like, okay, change everything or else you're going to die. Like, it's not at all like that. So I love that. I love offering that flexibility and showing that there can be a progression. It doesn't have to be harsh and stark and scary.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm pumped for that show. I think that's going to be sweet. If I was going to put a guesstimate on it, I would say it would launch sometime January, February, March, right in that range.
Yeah, I'm planning January, man.
That would be the hope. So.
Planning for January 1, whatever. Pick a day and drop episodes.
I'm going to run it through. The Clever Contractor is going to have a completely different back end than this show has. And if anyone's interested in starting your own podcast, I would highly recommend looking at Simplecast for hosting.
Good so far.
And you can do everything pretty much just off that site. So you don't have to do our back end's a little convoluted. So I'm happy to simplify it. So we'll have, the new office is going to be sweet. I'm pumped to get you in that space.
Can I talk about that for a minute?
Sure.
Or did I derail you?
No, I was just saying we have a lot of effort that's going to be, I have a crap ton of production stuff that I have to do for the Clever Contractor. So what I've also discovered, there's just the insights that I have come to through working on this show and the other things that I've done and tried to engage with is that I'm used to contracting work as far as my output goes, and contracting has it's just physical mostly.
It's a lot of work.
So it's physical and not as much mental when you're painting once you're set up and have solved things. There's a limit to creative output, at least for me, and I've research now confirms that it takes more brain. So I have a limited kind of amount of creative juices to kind of expend during the week.
Right.
I want to give service to all the things that I'm working on, and it's like that's what I've realized too. I'm like, oh, you have like kind of creative fatigue. It's like, dude, I can't do all of these things well.
We've got to pick and choose and put some good energy in those directions.
So, and also it's a really, really good strategy to be successful. I've heard it put like that before, which is very interesting. You want to be successful so that you're continually bringing new resources to your efforts. And, with your business, the more resources you have, the easier it is to bring energy and focus to the things that you're doing. So, you're going to crush your podcast. Like that's going to be...
I'm so excited. You have told me for years that I should do my own podcast, and I was so intimidated. But doing this with you, I was like, I think I could do it, especially because you're going to help me with all of the producing of things.
Well, so a lot of good things have come from this show too, and that's what I was...
It's been a great experience.
I've learned a lot. I've learned, really what it takes, I think, to make a show work, and you really need the back end community and... like with the Clever Contractor, it's very similar to your show where we just have a different base, like a different customer base, which are listener base, is that it's going to be helping contractors with their business, with their client etiquette, with all of the things that encompass doing the kind of work that my brother and I do. And it's coming from guys that do it. Now, that's a freaking layup for us because I'm legit owned and operated my own business for 15 years with my brother. Like it's like
a lot.
All the stuff I'm going to talk about, I've actually done.
Yeah, you're legitimately an expert in that field.
And then you are also similarly doing the same thing with the nutrition stuff and really helping your clients, building that community, and it has all of these other back end things, also things you're working on with your restart classes and your other classes that you're doing, and now you have like this awesome base of operations with your new office, and pretty close to the new Whole Foods, and like
it's really cool,
great location, and but even though it's a more like kind of more straightforward approach to that, it still takes a tremendous amount of work.
It does. Yeah, it does. That's what I was trying to get at when I was saying I was working on vacation First of all, I need to take more working vacations like that. It was great to unplug from like the stress of when do I need to be in my office? When do I have to do meal prep? When do I have to do this? I could just focus on creative energy and making plans. Oh my gosh. I've never done that before. It was great. Worked until 3, had fun for the rest of the evening. It was awesome.
Yeah. Well, and the type of work too, I think is different because it's not the same as seeing clients.
It's not the same as having client interaction.
You're just like brainstorming and laying things out, and you need to take that time to see like, okay, where am I at? Where am I going?
Yeah. I spread my thoughts out over 50 pages of paper. Like seriously, 50 pages of notes and sketches and ideas. Yeah. It was fantastic.
And we're both at the point now where we want to give I just had this conversation with my cousin the other day, and whatever it is that you're pursuing, it's a really good idea to try your hardest so that it eliminates excuses of why you failed. Because you want to get the most accurate feedback. So if I go at the Clever Contractor as hard as I can, as focused as I can, and that is what I'm focused on, and it fails, I know I've got a more accurate feedback than if I gave myself a lot of excuses of like, oh, well, I didn't try that hard. I kind of half-assed this. I half-assed that. So... and that's another reason. And you similarly with your moving into the new space, it just things are getting more real. And you and I have these goals of like getting our farm, working towards starting our family, and all of that stuff. So it's like big and like taking your working vacation. I want to have a little bit more independence from not having to actually be out in the field contracting as much.
Like that's how you make money.
So if I'm not out there working, then I'm not making money. Right. So and that's kind of why we've been moving towards the Clever Contractor and those types of things, is that's really important to me, particularly as we are getting older, getting closer to having kids, and I just want some more flexibility, and I want to make sure that works.
Yeah.
And that's why I've very much enjoyed doing this show with you. I think it's, for me, it's gotten it's been nice to not have to get guests on from a production standpoint.
Right, because we're just the only two most of the time, other than our series there.
Yeah, and
sorry, too far from the mic.
and that was fun, and we've had some good shows. We've gotten really, really positive reviews from the reviews that we have gotten, and
that's what I was trying to say. Like, I love our listeners. Our listeners are awesome.
Yeah.
It's just like super loyal fan base. Love our shows. It's so cool to see how much positive impact we've had for those people listening.
Yeah.
And I'm talking to you out there, guys. You guys are awesome. It's just a matter of how there's only 24 hours in a day.
Yeah.
Where can we spend that focus? And right now, the Painter and the Pixie is not the highest priority.
Right. Right.
And that's why I said maybe we'll come back. And I think I'm going to have like guest episodes, the Painter and the Pixie reunited, it'll still be fun.
You can still get your Jeremy and Serina fix, or your Serina fix, probably more likely. So yeah, and that's kind of just what I wanted to hit on too, is that we're both going to have our own shows. They're very focused. If you're interested in either of those topics, that's where you'll be able to find that.
Right. So if like our listeners to the Painter and the Pixie are not quite into the whole MMA side of things, contracting, and they just want nutrition, okay, they come listen to my show. But if they want to hear more about your stuff, they can go over to your show. Particularly
like entrepreneurial stuff and building a contracting business, which it actually applies more broadly to just even
building a business in general.
Like tradesmen. But it could be anything really in the service industry. A lot of it will have crossover. So
yeah, I think so.
And my brother is hilarious. So he and I have terrific chemistry as well, because we've been hanging around forever and been working together forever. So that's like...
I can't wait to listen to your show.
Also really easy to... And it's the shows we've already done are really fun and highly enjoyable. My brother is a goofy-ass dude, and hopefully that'll come across. It comes across really nicely on the show, and... It's effortless to talk about the things that we talk about together, because we've talked about it so much. And that'll be fun. But yeah, so fear not, listener base. We are, I'm going to give some shout outs in the outro too. I think I'll save that for the outro.
Sure, sounds great.
But
yeah. So some of the, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, we'll have plenty of opportunities to listen to us, and like I said, my new show will be launching in October. Serena's new jam will be in January
2019,
and we'll have plenty of crossover and.
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to take you out of the picture and like put Gus in there and call it the Puppy and the Pixie. No, I'm just kidding. That could be cute.
Just swap out.
Put a little dog there. Instead of you holding the paintbrush, Gus can hold it in his mouth, Yeah. Just kidding. It'll be cute.
Holds like a little bone or something.
Yeah. And that's like, I'm doing some super cool stuff in my office. That's what I want to talk about if we have a couple minutes left of our show.
Yeah, go for it.
Some fun things. I'm doing a lot more with groups and classes. Like you mentioned, I'm teaching these restart classes. Every 6 weeks, I've got 2 classes running, and they are so much fun. I just finished my first public class. I've done this material privately one-on-one thousands of times, probably at this point in my life, at least hundreds, if not into the thousands. And it's all about basics of digestion, basics of blood sugar regulation, a little bit of advanced blood sugar regulation, adrenal function, fatty acids, meal prep. How do you eat a diet that is made up of whole, real food? How do you cook food that doesn't come from a package? You know what? It's just a really nice basic intro. Super, super fun class. I had a wonderful time. And if any of you guys my first restart class listeners are listening, thanks for making it such an awesome experience. It was great. And some of the feedback that I got back from those students, I guess I'll call them students, my clients there from the restart class, was like, we loved this, make this available for more people. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going to be running 2 groups in my office in person and 1 electronic group. So people who maybe are listening from a different state or far away can still participate and learn and grow. And all that information is going to be on my website. Anybody who's listening can go check it out. But I'm also going to be doing cooking classes / cooking demos and meal prep demos. I'm so excited about this class because I do our meal prep. I realized on vacation, I do a lot of work to prep our meals for the week. And I calculate things and I prep that and I plan it, and I do the least amount of time in physical work actually cooking as possible. But it takes a lot of mental prep. So I was like, hey, other people would really like to experience this. And all of the little bits, if I've written out my meal plan and step-by-step guides, I've done that for some of my clients and some of my groups, like my restart class, they're like, wow, this is so easy. This is so much more simple than I thought it would be. So I'm doing classes in my new office. I have plenty of space there to run big groups and teach people, hey, here's how you do the meal prep for the week, and do demos. And like, I hope, and this is coming down the line, it's not right as soon as I move into my office, but coming down the road here, I'm going to be doing group meal prep courses, like going to our local farm and buying a whole cow and a whole pig and chickens and giving shares to all of the students, and like literally teaching classes on cooking nose to tail. How do you use all these weird cuts? What do you do with the knuckle bones? Like, how do you cook liver and heart and kidneys and all of that? Like the stuff that people just don't know about, and do it in a really easy way for people who like are used to just putting microwave meals in the dinner meals in the microwave each night. How can you start shifting your practice and growing your culinary skills and like developing healthy community? That's what I keep coming back to, is I want to have a community for my clients, because I tell you what, it feels really lonely when you're the only person who's like, oh, I'm not going to have bread with this. Or if there's sugar added to that sauce, I don't want it. Like, it feels really bizarre and unusual, and it is a little bit, but I want to bring a sense of community and normalcy and coming together. We can do this together. You don't have to feel like you're going at it alone. And I taught a class last summer, not this summer, 2018, it was 2017. I taught a class with several girls. It was like a home group community. And you know what? After that class, they started doing meal prep together. They had meal prep Mondays, and they then had real food and could grow that community in and of themselves. That's what I want. Yeah. I want people to realize, yes, I want to work with my one-on-one clients. Yes, I want to help them to achieve their goals and solve the really complicated digestive problems and blood sugar dysregulation, and help people with their thyroid imbalances and whatever is going on. But I want to show that most people's problems can be solved in a community setting. Sit down, chew your food, eat real food, drink water and enjoy your company. Have healthy relationships. That's my goal. That's the big shift that's happening here with Wise Bear Functional Nutrition turning into Serina Vassar Functional Nutrition Community. I don't know it's not a good name.
Yeah.
But that's the goal. That's the idea, is to show people you can do it. Like, we've had a little community here that people have kind of been able to watch on their computer screen and listen on their ear pods. And I want to show how to foster that, and you can, and it's totally possible, and it's so exciting. And can you tell I'm excited about this?
Yeah, man. Yeah. Well, and there's the teaching thing. That's when you really light up.
I love it so much.
And people will be happy to know that we'll be engaging in these restart classes. We're setting up the new office it has a big room that we're making bigger by getting rid of some half walls and doing a little bit of construction. And the way we're
it's a big community
doing
room.
furniture it'll be a large instruction room and with mobile tables and fun things and
so exciting.
It's going to get sweet. So it'll be much more like spacious than cramming 10 people in your office right now.
10 people, 11 people, because it was 10 students, myself, and the dog.
And a dog, yeah. So it's just going to be way more comfortable. I'm so happy that you have the space that will be your space. It will be, frictionless as far as you don't have other clients in there that aren't yours waiting in the waiting room and things like that. Not that you haven't enjoed your space. It's been wonderful so far.
It's been fantastic.
Shout
Served
out to
all
Nick,
my purposes.
so.
Yeah, thanks, Nick, if you're listening. Fantastic experience. I just need more space to grow and do this community stuff. I mean, I have not held a class of so many people in my office before, this past restart class. And we were cozy, man, rubbing elbow to elbow, 11 people in that room plus Gus.
It's just not set up for it. I mean, because your office in your current location is set up to see one-on-one clients. That's really what it's set up for.
Which is wonderful, and I still love that. But I love community. That's why I've been working with the NTA and doing all of my group leading and student care and all these things. It's wonderful.
Well, and it's also less lonely for you. That's what some people don't realize too about, being an entrepreneur and having your own business is that, particularly you, because I'm way less lonely because I have a partner in my brother.
True.
So
I don't have that.
So you don't have a partner. I'm kind of like your silent, not so silent partner, because I do run my mouth a lot. But but like I'm the one that you bounce a lot of ideas off of, and then you're going out and doing. So even having a community where you can have interns and have the space to do things and have, it also rejuvenates you. And that's super important for, we've talked about this on the show before, but sustainability and things that scale. And that's really where our energies are going now, is that we're very focused on putting our energy, our efforts, our sacrifices to things that scale really well and that are continually bringing energy back to ourselves as well. And I think it's awesome. I think doing the Painter and the Pixie has given you the confidence to be like, oh yeah, I could do my own show. Yeah. Because we've done like 37 episodes, dude. So, and it's been, the vibe's been good, production value's good. There's a lot of really solid, and now it's just figuring out, like, a lot of people start and they do show after show after show, and then eventually they land on, like, okay, this is the set and setting that works. This is the thing that scales. And actors and actresses and comedians, and I'm really up on the podcasting community, people are constantly trying new iterations of shows, and then you find the thing like, oh, this is it. This is what I want to do. This is the effort I want to put in. This is how I want things to kind of move along. This is I have plans for shows that I want to try even later, because as soon as the Clever Contractor gets up and running and is going well, Josh and I want to build our own office and have our own space for things that we're going to be working on. And it's like that brings a lot of energy to me as well, and be able to help guys that I, have a lot in common with, guys that I love illuminating other opportunities that people don't know exist. And
you've said that from the beginning. Like, I want to show people that they have options. Right. You don't have to be stuck in this one box just because you've been in this box before. Yep. I love that.
So, and then, I think it's awesome what you're doing. The new office, again, I've said this before, but I'm super pumped on that. All the teaching stuff you're doing, it's set up to meet your needs and the needs of your clients. And, I was just thinking, I was like, man, it'd be sweet if, like, down the line you had almost like a food prep gym. Like
Yeah.
if you had different like kitchenettes set up, like I was thinking like a home ec room.
Yeah, or like
And
if
I'm like,
anyone has ever watched the Great British Baking Show,
Heck yeah, dude.
like the tent. I want a tent where I can do cooking demos and classes for people.
Maybe not a tent.
Yeah,
like,
you know,
a solid structure.
quote unquote tent.
But those are the Great British Baking Show is set up like a
Home ec
class.
Yeah.
So then I was like,
people
man,
can just come once a week and do their food prep in community.
that's what I was saying. If you did the thing where you all went out to a farmer's market, got all the stuff, and then like maybe get some wine, and then
that could be so fun.
don't they do like the get drunk and make art thing?
Yeah, the whining and what is that? Wine and painting.
Wine and paint. They have like
I don't know.
or
There's a lot of
twisted
different
art or
names.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
If you did like wine and food prep, that would be
or
awesome.
kombucha, you know, like,
whatever.
Lots of fun. There's a huge amount of opportunity ahead of me, and I'm so excited to be doing these things.
But dude, that would be sick if you could
I would
bring.
sign up for
if
that.
you could bring all of your food and groceries to like one spot.
Yeah.
And then do your food prep.
Just
with,
bring your containers
with,
and a
like,
big cooler.
with like a group of people.
Yeah.
You know, like 10 other people or something. Everybody's out there and they're just like prepping, and then you'd be
take
there
3
helping.
hours on a Saturday
That'd be
and like
sick.
prep your food for the week. That's what I'm trying to get at. That's what I'm going to be doing on a smaller scale in my new space. I don't have the kitchen set up to be able to do it on a larger scale, but
again, it scales.
yeah,
So.
and that's just, it's awesome. I'm so excited for that. And you mentioned this earlier. I didn't mention this. I'm also starting my internship program. So any of you guys listening who are my students currently, like totally feel free to contact me. I'm looking for super awesome NTP fresh graduates who want to learn how do you run a business. And I'm not going to give a lot of details here, but
Yeah.
I'm very excited to have another kind of like even temporary partner in crime, someone who can come and help me and I can bounce ideas off of, and who's like in the world of, you're awesome, you're great, but I can't talk to you about problems I'm having with a sticky client case. You know what I mean? Like you can help me with the practical side of things, which is awesome.
Well, I think the movement to have your own office, and there's basically 3 actual closed offices within your whole thing, and then the main
plus
room,
the
the kitchenette. So you have the space to have another practitioner in there, an intern, an admin, whatever. And I think,
or someone who can like babysit my clients while I'm on vacation or teaching.
Right. Well, and I think your next
babysit, that's really harsh. Care for my clients genuinely and kindly and competently.
Through the internship program, I think you will be moving towards either coming up with, an employee situation or a partner or something like that. So, and that's,
cool.
That is something else that, again, you take on more responsibility, but it gives you more opportunities. So, and that's part of growing your business and some of the growing pains that you'll have and all of that. So that's
it's all real exciting stuff. This is kind of like why we've been talking about, where can we, it takes a lot of time and energy to start those things.
To start, to maintain, to push, and to get over those humps that are going to lead to the big improvements.
Yeah.
And we have designs on getting our farm next year and working towards kids and more flexibility and all of these things, and going on more working vacations. And it's like, if I can do my work off of a laptop, then we can go down to Hilton Head more and hang out and do that kind of stuff. And then, which I think we can maybe end on this is that, so September 30th right now. Yeah. The month of October, I'm doing Sober October.
Yeah, I'm doing it with you, man.
And it's something that I think Rogan and Tom Segura, Ari Shaffir, and Bert Kreischer are all doing it. They did it last year. I'm not sure what their physical challenge is this year. They haven't been super detailed, so they'll probably get to it at some point. But the point is, you don't booze the whole month,
kind of like our January challenge.
Very.
I love it that this is the bookend to the Painter and the Pixie, like no alcohol.
so, and we've been talking a lot about that, and then we have some challenges set up as well where you just
grab the book.
You just got your new productivity planner, and I got one as well. I also use the 5-minute journal, which is by the same group of guys. I guess you call them authors, but. That's what I'm going to be doing is whoa, that's did you hear that in your ear?
No. Are you okay?
Yeah. I just think I think a cord was getting pinched.
Oh.
Now it's much more robust in my headphones.
Okay.
Anyway, this is like my parting kind of advice for people, or recommendation. Recommendation is a better word.
And it's awesome.
5-minute journal is super helpful. It is a prompted journal that every day it has, it has a little quote at the top. It says, I'm grateful for, and then you list 3 things. It says, what would make today great? 3 things. Daily affirmations is I am, and then you will write a, affirmative statement of like, I am kind and patient, or whatever. And then at the end of your fearless, day, it has three amazing things that happened today. And so you're again in that grateful kind of mindset.
Attitude of gratitude.
And then it has the last part is how could I have made today better? So you're actually kind of reviewing things. And then they came out with the same people.
Wait. And you're reviewing things so that it helps you to stay focused for the following day, but also you can go back later and review, and you can see patterns for yourself.
Yep.
Have I continually been disappointed in myself, or could I have done X better? And you wrote that 20 times in the last month. Okay, let's take a step back and reevaluate and formulate a plan moving forward.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah. And,
super great tool.
And,
very powerful.
I've been not pumped on journaling and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I actually got this 5-minute journal that I'm working in right now in 2015. Yeah. I did it for a month and stopped. And now I've been super consistent for about 2 or 3 months.
Almost 3 months now.
And it's been very beneficial. I would highly recommend it. It's like $24 and really simple. You'd think it gets repetitive, but what I found out with this type of journaling, it makes it very convenient to go back and look at things, because the breakdowns are so similar, so you can kind of do almost like a statistical analysis of the things you've written down.
A meta-analysis of your journal, of your life for the last couple months.
Yeah, and then the other thing that I got by them is that the 5-minute journal for me really helped cultivate more of a sense of graciousness and being grateful for where I am and my family and all, because it just puts me in that mindset, and also really good to review my day.
Yeah.
And now one of the things that I'm trying to do moving forward is be way, way more productive with the things that I'm doing. Not to do more things, but to be very effective in the things that I am doing. And so for the month of October, I'm going to use their productivity planner. It's
a great planner. Any of you guys who nerd out on planners, go check it out. They have a free sample on their website that you can download as a PDF. Totally worth it. It gives you a whole week as a sample. Super awesome.
And actually, Serina just got hers today as well.
Mm-hmm. And can't wait to fill it in.
Sarah's getting one too. And I think my brother's probably going to get one as well.
I love it.
But it's very simple, and this is coming from somebody. I hate this stuff. I really hate this stuff.
Yeah,
I hate like planners and all that crap. I just really, but
I love them.
I've noticed to get more organized and to actually execute and get things checked off the list,
they can be useful.
It would be very beneficial for me to be more organized. And this is much like the 5-minute journal, it's a really nice way that they break this down. Mm-hmm. They use a method called the Pomodoro method, and it breaks your work chunks into 25 minutes. You track it nicely. I would also recommend to check that out. So I'm going to be, I continue to do the 5-minute journal, but I'm also going to be,
implementing the productivity planner.
October and using the productivity planner, because launching the website just has a lot of ticky-tack stuff that I need to make sure that I'm tracking and getting done, and there's layering and
the nitty-gritty details.
Yep. So that's kind of what I'm doing, and those are the 2 kind of parting things that I would say to take a look into, because they both scale really nicely. Mm-hmm. They're super, as far as like the benefits you get for the cost, it's
pretty good,
pretty sweet. I think those are the things that I wanted to touch on. I
wanted to read my affirmation.
Oh, sure, go for it.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
So, and I think, because I think those are some great parting thoughts. They just help you to be a better person and to stay more organized. Here, honey, do you want to set them down right here?
Yeah.
When we got back from vacation. Right as soon as we got back from vacation, I worked 2 very, very long days in a row. And then I went off to do group leading for the Nutritional Therapy Association down at their Philadelphia class. And our lead instructor, which I don't know if I'm allowed to say his name or not, so I'll just say lead instructor, was awesome. He is one of the best instructors I have worked with. I've worked with 5 separate instructor teams. I guess I could say his name. Dusty is his name. Shout out to Dusty if you're listening. Man. One of the best instructors that I have worked with. Very, very good communicator, fantastic listener, and really effective in his in his manner, all the things that he's doing. And he shared this with us. We just finished our midterm workshop weekend. So the second workshop weekend, there's 3 workshop weekends, current structure with the Nutritional Therapy Association as a student. First one's intro, second one's midterms, finals. And he shared this with us during the first workshop, and he shared it again during the second. And I just was like, you know what? This is really nice. So I wrote it down and I put it on my refrigerator and I read it every morning. And it's kind of cheesy to think like, oh, I'm just reading this affirmation every morning, but it's so nice. It's kind of like your 5-minute journal. It gets you in a good headspace for the day. So Here it is. I do not fear because I am loved. No matter what's going on in my life, I love myself unconditionally. I am not intimidated because I am bold and full of courage. I make wise decisions that bring health to my life. I have a strong mind that is alert and receptive. I do all things with excellence. I accomplish whatever I put my mind to if I put in the effort. I prosper in all things. I take setbacks as temporary and I bounce back quickly. I control my attitude and my emotions because I choose my thoughts. I am prepared, I am able, and I will do my best. It's a wonderful way to start your day, because how often do we feel inadequate? How often do we feel terribly stressed or like we have no control? And that last one, the second to last line there, I choose my thoughts. I absolutely love that sentiment, because so many times I can tell you, even from experience, you feel like your brain it's just like in a whirlwind taking you all sorts of different directions. But I am in control of my faculties. I have the ability, I may not execute perfectly all the time, but I have the ability to say, I'm going to step forward in strength. I choose my thoughts. I'm in control of my attitude and my emotions. A lot of times we feel like, well, my emotions are just my emotions. I feel my emotions. Yes, you're absolutely valid. You absolutely can feel your emotions, but you get to choose your reaction to those emotions.
Right.
Every single time you get the opportunity to choose your reaction to those emotions. So you might feel really hurt. You might feel upset. You might feel like someone's not listening to you, or people aren't paying attention to you the way they want. You might feel like at work you're getting glossed over. You are in control of your attitude and your emotions because you choose your thoughts. You choose how you interpret those circumstances. And all that previous affirmation before that helps you to come at it from a really well-balanced, healthy perspective where you're in the driver's seat. You have personal power there. I just think it's such a wonderful tool, fantastic way to start your day and say, I'm going to get in the driver's seat of my life. I do not have to be, taken about by the wind, like a leaf on the wind, right?
Right.
I can say, even though the world around me is in chaos, even though things are not going the way we planned, even though we're closing down the Painter and the Pixie and we had plans and shows, we're stepping forward here in the driver's seat saying our time and effort, our healthy choices, the things that we're making for ourselves to grow us as a couple, as individuals, as business owners, as community developers around us. This is the step that we're going to take towards growth, freedom, life, vitality, and it's awesome.
Yeah. I think that's great. And that's particularly in the beginning, of talking about I'm pursuing things with excellence.
Yeah.
And I've even found with all the things that I've been working on, what I'm trying to cultivate recently is bringing my that your affirmation was a lot about being mindful as well. And what I know that word gets tossed around a lot, but how I have applied it recently has been trying to eliminate task residue of I'm going to do 19,000 different things. And as I'm doing all those...
Or start 10 things and finish none.
And then that residue from those started tasks, those incompleted tasks will follow you. And it makes your attention almost diverted, and you're not bringing your whole attention to whatever it is you're working on. So I've been actively cultivating a sense of when I'm doing something, I'm doing it. I'm not trying to do all these different things. I'm going to do it and complete it and move on. And everything that I do, whether it's a podcast or taking a picture or doing production, everything is my full focus is coming into those things, and my full effort is coming into those things, so that if it doesn't work out, it doesn't go well, at least I know that I did my best in that moment. And it's giving me less excuses for, why it didn't work out and things like that.
And you're focusing on doing those things with excellence. I mean, that right there, I loved that statement as well, Jeremy. And I love what you're saying. I want to reduce that task residue, because task residue clings on from all over the place. A lot of my clients, even to go on a slight tangent, people who have stress around eating food, like if they talk about being like emotional eaters, that's task residue from these emotions that have not been understood or handled or given a proper outlet. The task residue falls over into this other vein of your life where it doesn't necessarily belong, but you work with it there, right? So if we can focus our energies and do things with excellence, and what did it say? Accomplish these things that I set out to do when I put in the effort. That's exactly what you said. Focusing, moving in that direction. I am going to point B, and I'm not going to go to C, D, A, H, K, J, L before coming to B. That is what we do so often.
Yep. It's very important to hit the things that you aim at.
Yeah.
And be known for that, and to cultivate that habit. So
I think it's great. Brilliant.
I think that's sweet, because we are, in our own rights, are focusing our full attention on the things that we value the most and the things that are the most important right now in our life to be successful at.
Yeah.
And that's really kind of
closing some of those tabs.
what we're doing, why we're moving on from the Painter and the Pixie, and why we're going to be pursuing the things that we're pursuing.
Yeah.
So.
And thank you, Jeremy, for asking me to do this show with you a year ago. When we first started talking about it was last year on vacation, September last year. It's been a pleasure to work with you on this project, and I'm sure we're going to have some great projects moving forward, but it's been wonderful.
Yeah, well, thanks for being on the show, man. Well, like doing the show with me, not being on the show. That sounded weird. But yeah, it's been super fun.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed recording with you. I think it's weird because we have a really good cadence and rhythm in our normal conversations, and then to like record them, and then we've had some tremendous pictures of us now. Like
it's great.
Before the show, we had
like two,
like
none,
no pictures after our wedding of you and I together, and now we have a lot of goofy ass pictures that are very nicely edited and titled, and on Instagram and elsewhere.
Yeah.
So it's been fun. It's been fun to kind of goof around with you, and I know we'll be doing production things together in the future. So it's not a, the end of.
It's not goodbye. It's see you later.
yeah. And we'll have plenty more fun stuff we're working on down the line. So we've been saying this since vacation, is that how excited we are to be moving into the things that we're moving into.
It's super, super exciting.
And I could be wrong, but I don't think I am, that it's not a false sense of excitement. Like it's not misplaced, we'll say.
Yeah.
So, and I'm super proud of you for all the things you're doing.
Thank you.
So
it's wonderful.
All right, guys. Well, we will. Sorry. Go ahead.
Well, lastly, thank you to our audience as well. I know we're probably going to say some of this in the outro, but I just want to say it now. Thank you, listeners and people who watch on YouTube and people who listen on any of the podcasting apps. We know we've kind of complained a little bit, like we don't have a big enough audience to keep going, but we do appreciate you guys a huge amount, so much. It's been a phenomenal experience, and I can't tell you how much some of the private feedback we've gotten from some of our listeners has been so wonderfully encouraging and positively impactful to us. Absolutely makes our time worth it.
Yeah,
for sure.
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely.
I don't regret doing the show at all. I think it's been awesome. A lot of the series that we put together were super fun, and I learned a lot, and I learned even more about nutrition from you, having those discussions. Like I loved drinking beer and then trying to pay attention to something technical. That was just like a good challenge for me. Also, I want to make it clear that I don't know if we did earlier, but it is not at all the fault of the listeners at all. Okay, so to have a podcast work logistically and to build an audience takes a tremendous amount of work on the back end of marketing that we simply did not do and didn't really have the time to do this time around. So I love that this time around. I've learned quite a bit in how the mechanics of it work, how to grow a community, and that is why we described earlier Serina doing her show. I just want to make sure it's not, no one feels like I don't think they would.
I don't think they will, but I think it's nice to acknowledge that. So thank you. For that
just super appreciative of everybody listening, and I'm going to give some shout outs in the outro specifically to people that have been listening and giving feedback. So. Yeah. But yeah, thanks, sweetie. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
I love you, and this has been awesome. So we'll do a high five. Should we save it for the outro? Or
No, let's do it right now.
Ready to go. All right, guys, we will see you in the outro.
Bye. Thank you so much for listening, guys. I super appreciate it. Jeremy appreciates it. We really appreciate you, our loyal audience, for this final episode of The Painter and the Pixie.
Hanging in there.
Hanging in there. Yeah, through the whole thing. You can still, our Instagram is still up, so you can totally still find all of our old pictures and those things.
What do you think is your favorite thumbnail?
What do I think is my favorite thumbnail?
Yeah.
Oh, you just threw me off.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's the last one. We can do what we want.
Yeah, I think I don't know.
I liked the power outage one.
Oh, that is my favorite. I loved the power outage one. You're totally right. Where I'm like holding the candle and looking at it like, whoa.
I think that was like episode 4, I want to say.
It was early.
It was really early. I also liked the blood sugar one where I had all the donuts.
That was funny too.
Yeah.
And when you had your floating paintbrush, that was pretty cool.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I like that one a lot. Yeah.
So,
Our Instagram PS is The Painter and the Pixie, at The Painter and the Pixie.
Yeah, so that'll stay up.
That'll stay up. You can totally find us there. And you can also find our shows moving forward. Jeremy will give you some more details on YouTube. YouTube lets us host for like ever. For the foreseeable future, you'll totally be able to find all of our videos on YouTube. And if you don't want to watch it, just like play the video and put your earbuds in so you can listen to it like a podcast.
Right. So what's going to happen there is that we are, after probably October, we're not going to be paying our servers to maintain the show. So they're going to slowly start to disappear off of all the platforms. So if you're listening on iTunes or Stitcher or Google Play, the shows will no longer be available probably sometime in November.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You'll see them kind of go away. So what you can do, I'm the most familiar with the iTunes podcasting app, is that you can save the episode that you want to save.
To your phone?
And have them permanently kind of like on your device.
So save your favorite episodes, guys.
Yeah, and if you wanted to like save the When Shit Hits the Fan series, anything like that. Active listening, any of the ones anything that you liked, if you wanted to save it for later.
Or the little things.
Yeah, whatever it is. But that's just the audio. The YouTube has every single episode. It has the video. It has the thumbnails and everything, and the show, like what little, maybe a few show notes, but like that will be hosted forever. We're not going to take it down, so you have access to that for as long as you...
The foreseeable future.
Yeah. So and YouTube is incredibly accessible, and so if you wanted to show that to somebody, that's where to find it. But because the website will also expire probably sometime next year, because we actually just paid for it again. But anyway,
by accident.
So just be aware of that you will still have another couple weeks where you can find all the audio online and stuff. But yeah, if you save it to your device, you will have it forever.
Yep, as long as it's on there.
Yep.
Yeah, it's been a fun experience, man. It's been a really great show.
Yeah, man. And
sad to see it go, but very excited for the future.
One of people who are listening to this will have listened to the show, so you know what it is we're doing. I wanted to thank a few people that really helped get the show going and helped me in the process on production. Our dear friend Megan, who actually did
the artistic talent,
the logo for this show. She helped the logo for Jeremy Unsolicited, and she also did the logo for the Clever Contractor.
Yeah,
so
she's pretty cool.
Shout out to Megan, super awesome, talented individual. Super appreciate you, Megan, for doing all of that and putting up with my corrections and little things here and there.
Hey, she said she's liked working with you. She's like, I wish people would be as specific as Jeremy. To give the dimensions and so forth. So but she's great.
Yeah, I like working with artists, and I try to make it as easy as possible because it's somewhat similar to, it's a different kind of contracting, but it's
still contracting.
Very similar.
Yep.
So yeah, big thanks to her. Big thanks to anybody that's been on the show.
Yeah, all of our guests.
Particularly my dad, Diane Wagenhals, and Susan Carpenter. This show was worth doing just for that series.
Just for those conversations.
Those were really good. A lot of people have had very positive reviews of those particularly, and has been very helpful because some of that stuff's not the most fun to talk about.
Yeah, it's hard stuff.
But those were awesome. The people I listed are awesome folks. Really appreciate them being on. Also, I know Dr. D and his wife Leslie listen quite a bit, so I really appreciate you guys as loyal listeners.
Yeah, you guys have given us some awesome feedback.
Yeah, awesome feedback and reviews. We appreciate it, and I'm probably forgetting some people from my world, but those are the ones off the top. I'll shout out to my sister-in-law Sarah as well, because I know she listens pretty regularly, and I know Katrina listens too.
Yeah.
But, I don't know if she does every episode, but it's pretty solid as well. So thank you to you guys for listening, for giving feedback kind of in person, and I know some of my other extended family listen to this here and there. Also, major shout out, I don't even know if he's going to listen this far, but my cousin Drew has edited the video for these, which does take some time.
And work.
And it's really the export time that takes the longest, because these video files are so long. So huge fan of
awesome job,
Dubenstein. Appreciate you, dude. And he's like crushing it with editing. He's continuing to work with my brother and I on The Clever Contractor, and hopefully that will continue to scale moving forward. I really enjoy working with him. He's approaching things as a professional, and
he's really good.
Could not have done a lot of the stuff that I did with this show without him. So it's very, very awesome that I have such a competent cousin. So
and I want to give a couple shout outs too.
Yeah, go for it.
Thanks. Shout out to my dad and my mom listening to these episodes. Like it was so hard when I told him that we were going to be shutting down the show. He's like, no, please, we love it. It's great.
Hey, we'll still talk to you, Gene.
Yeah,
It's all good, man.
Good. So shout out, awesome. Thanks for the support and listening and passing around. I know he runs his nonprofit ministry thing, his
the
what's
prison?
the word? Yeah, the prison ministry. Yeah. And he's passed around episodes of our show to his guys he's mentoring, because they've been great, like active listening and building healthy relationships and those types of things when shit hits the fan, like really great resources. So Dad, if you're listening, just shuck them over to the YouTube channel. They'll still have those available there.
Yep.
And another fan, who was like an ex-client of mine, she's moved away, she graduated, awesome, Danielle. Thank you. You have given us such kind feedback, wonderfully encouraging notes that you write to me, in text messages. Really wonderful. I'm so happy that this show has been impactful for you and has been a really positive experience. So thank you to everyone. And I'm sure I've missed some people. Jeremy has missed some people.
Oh, Angie, I want to say Angie, loyal listener as well. I know we've been a part of your commute, at least partially during the week, and
awesome.
Gotten some good feedback from her as well, and just a most pleasant individual to have in our world. So
my clients and everybody who's listening.
Because we had Tim and Angie on the show. I forgot we did a strength and conditioning episode.
That was a great one.
That was
Getting
great.
in shape to get in shape.
So thank you guys for being on that show as well.
Very cool. Well, again, thanks everyone listening. All of our audience, super awesome experience.
Yeah, it's been great. Do you have anything else to add, love?
I think we
got through.
Wrapped up pretty well.
Yeah. So again, thank you for doing this with me, running this little experiment. I'm so pumped to work on the stuff we're working on, and your new podcast, my new podcast. And
maybe we'll dump those little announcements onto our Instagram if people want to follow us. We can do that for them, I'm sure.
Yeah, and I'll leave the Painter and the Pixie Instagram up. I'll try and check it periodically in case anyone's trying to get us from there. But I guess. You're what? Serena Vassar on Instagram.
Vassar.
I'm Jeremy Vassar on Instagram. The Clever Contractor is The Clever Contractor on Instagram. That's not up yet, but it will be very soon. And
my website is wisebearfn.com, and very shortly here, maybe even by the time you're listening to this episode, it will be transitioned over to serenavassar.com.
Yep. So we will, we'll kind of, we're moving forward and
taking steps in the right direction.
Yeah, very pumped. But again, hopefully it's come across that we're very appreciative of all of y'all listening, and it's been a fun time. Serena and I really enjoyed this experience, and we won't see you in the next episode, but we will see you and I guess talk with you in our next endeavors through all the other stuff we're doing. So thanks for listening, and y'all have a good one.
Bye.
See ya.
Amazing.